Welcome to this class, the Embodied Yes. And if you're new to my world, I just want to give you a quick introduction into who I am and how this has all come about. So I'm Elena. I have been doing this work for a long time, but more recently in the online world. So just in case you're wondering, I'm a bit of a dinosaur like that. So I started dance as a child, as a girl. I did ballet for years and years and years until prep advanced. I was on point, and then I gave it all up thinking I'm not good enough. I didn't feel like I belonged in that world. I never quite knew where I belonged, actually. I'm a British born Chinese, and growing up was quite tricky, being ethnic minority in the small town that I was in at the time, city now. Anyway, and I found release and joy and happiness through dance. Then I gave it all up in my teens, and I kind of felt a bit lost for a while. I worked in the media, I did different things, but I went off traveling. And when I went off traveling, I still kept on dancing. And when I was traveling, I took a one-way ticket to India when I was 27. I got very lost before I found myself. Bit of a cliche, but very true. But I never stopped dancing. So anyway, about 25 years ago, I was in the northern edge of Ibiza, which is on an energetic point of the world, and in fact is ruled by the goddess Tanit of dance. And I was on the north of the island, and I was at this event. I felt this incredible surge of energy coming up through me, and I thought, what is this? It's not just an endorphin rush, it's much more than that, right? And so I came back to England. Fast forward, I've studied dance movement therapy, realized I didn't want to pursue the therapy because it was all Western psychotherapeutic methods. I did an MA in dance and somatic well-being, and somatics is this umbrella of different modalities where a lot of the practitioners have healed themselves from injuries. Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen of Body Mind Centering has helped people with paralysis find sensation in those parts of themselves again. So it's really quite incredible and deep work. But I have created neo-dance for new integrated and inspired openings from my own experience and travels because of my time in Asia, yoga, the spirituality, the meditation, my own Chinese roots and Taoism. And so the way I work is quite grounded and visceral because of my somatic work, but also we have this other body. We have a physical body. Somatics is our physical, our emotional, our mental, our spiritual body. Because when we drop out of our busy frontal cortex and we drop into from our beta brain into our alpha theta state, we can access new creative realms of knowing. This alpha theta state is also what you achieve in meditation. But the beauty of doing it through movement and dance is that we go in, we go inwards, and then we come back out again. So it's a real deep, whole-bodied experience, and it has nothing to do with your ability to dance. This is absolutely nothing to do, it couldn't be further from Strictly Come Dancing. There's nothing to do with steps, achievement in that sense, the competitiveness aspect of it. It's all about sensing and feeling into yourself. And then when you do that, you access hidden treasures that you didn't even realize were there, that have been hidden away, that have been pushed down, tucked away, okay? We keep so much because of the minute we pop out from our mother's womb. You know, after not very, we're allowed to get away with it in about the first year when we can scream and do what we like. But even then, baby training starts at a very young age when you learn when you can cry, when you can't cry. Before then, always been told to keep quiet, keep still at school, get in the line, sit down, do this, do that. So we're very, we're all very held and boundaried in our lives. And isn't it ironic? During lockdown, we couldn't go out, we weren't free. But then, now we technically have freedom again. And how many of us still have these self-imposed prisons? And so when we come back into our bodies and movement and dance, we can start to unlock what's there. So all of this conditioning from over these years, that's impacted in our cells. Layers and layers. Okay, so when we first start to move, it can feel uncomfortable. Things will start to come up. That's why if we go into sort of unfamiliar movement, now some of you who've tried yoga and perhaps you've had a lot, and yoga has incredible benefits, but for example, when you start practicing yoga, if you have had a lot of heart stuff, and you then start doing heart opening asanas, right? Crabs and back bends, and you heart open your heart, a lot of the time you might feel like wanting to cry. So some people, they start to do yoga, and after some intense sessions of it, you start to cry. And this can happen, I've heard this a lot with men actually, because perhaps, you know, it's harder as a man to know when you're allowed to cry and when you're not, right? And conditioning means that, you know, you stay strong, you man up, you keep it all in. And for us women, we don't want to be perceived as a crumbling mess either. We want to be able to be regarded on an equal footing with men. And so, and then of course we get accused of being overly macho. It's a very, everything in life, everything is it's a navigation, it's a balance, it's a negotiation. But in the end, it's all about what feels right for us and what feels right in our nervous system. And our nervous system is designed to protect us. So a lot of the time we stop ourselves doing things because it somehow feels safer. And so to go beyond that, to get to the edge of transforming, of stepping into something more and more powerful within yourself, you have to have that courage to move through and get to the edge, and then gradually, incrementally, you go beyond that edge so that you can go into something more. Okay, just had to stop the camera there. I've got an itchy nose. So, a bit about the way I work. Nothing is prescribed. I invite you, I encourage and empower you to have your own agency, to have your own way of being and doing, okay? And the invitation is for you to just explore, to allow, to give yourself permission to express, perhaps in ways that you never have done before. I also like to keep it light and playful, okay? So sometimes I'll be a bit silly, and actually it's to help you relax. I want you to feel you can be however you want to be. As children, we feel so free. We're allowed to play and laugh and be silly. And don't we love that energy of children around us? So why is it that when we become an adult, we suddenly have to become so serious? Okay, in some work situations, you're not going to be taken seriously unless you're serious. But actually, sometimes doesn't laughter just break the ice? Not to mention it improves our immune system. So that's one thing. I will be light sometimes, I will be playful, I might even be silly. And it's so that it's giving you permission to do the same, okay? Nothing is prescribed, so you always listen to what you want to do. You don't have to copy anything that I'm doing. Sometimes what I'm saying might be just a way, a guide, a support in to help you discover your own movement, okay? And so for this session, I'm going to take you on a beautiful, deep journey. If you allow yourself, okay?